I'm making the famous Tuscan dessert called Torta Della Nonna. I discovered this dessert when I was in Florence at the Uffizi Gallery. They served it in their cafe. I had never seen anything like it. It has a wonderful custard filling and a beautiful crust, and it's topped with pine nuts. For your crust, you'll need 1.5 cups of cornmeal and 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour. Cornmeal is a common ingredient in the north of Italy. And after we do this, we're going to add our leavening, which is baking powder, and you will need 1.5 teaspoons. Get a whisk and really blend everything well. It's important to do this, and now we're going to add some sugar. And this is going to be granulated sugar, and there'll be 1/3 cup. It's time to get the butter ready. So I have 1 stick of unsalted butter, and it's cold, and I'm wanting to cut it into chunks and then into small pieces. We're going to add it to the dry mixture, and you're going to want to toss it really well with those dry ingredients. You could also do this in your food processor if you have one. You'll need 1 whole egg and 1 egg yolk, and you'll want to add that to your dry ingredients. I have some ice cold water, a few tablespoons, and after you get your egg mixed in, you're going to slowly add in that icy cold water, mix it up with a fork, and if you need more, you can. I ended up using about 5 tablespoons of really cold water. There we go, I added a little bit more. So now get that dough really well mixed, and it's ready when you can form it into a ball. You're going to tighten it all up, and then you want to flatten it out because it's going to go into the refrigerator. Wrap it up really tightly with some saran wrap. Once your dough is chilled, it's going to be so much easier to roll. Let's start making the custard, and you'll need 2 cups of whole milk. I used 2% because that's all I had, and it worked out okay. And after that, you're going to add in 1/2 cup of sugar, and you're going to blend that in really well with a whisk. And then you're going to add 1/3 cup of all-purpose flour, and this is how your custard's going to thicken up. Make sure you do a really good job blending it with your whisk. I've got this on about a medium heat, and after about 8 or 9 minutes, it's thickened up, and I'm going to put a pinch of salt in it. You can see how thick this has become. So shut the heat off and add about a teaspoon of vanilla and mix that in. Pour your custard into a heat-proof bowl and let it cool. I'm going to butter a cake pan. This is traditionally made in a cake pan, but you could use a pie plate. So cut off about 1/3 of your chilled crust, and now we're going to roll out the bottom. You'll want to form it more into a round now. And make sure you really heavily flour your board, because this is a sticky dough. I've got some parchment paper, and I'm placing this on some floured parchment paper, and then also a piece on top. Roll it out, take your time, because you really want to make sure this is thin, because the crust will rise a little bit as it bakes. So this is an easy way to get this into your pan, because as I said, it's a sticky dough. Just place it on a rolling pin while you still got your parchment paper and transfer it over to the cake pan. There is going to be a lot of leftover dough after you get done with this, and you can always make some cookies with it. Trim the dough around the edges, and we won't be doing any fluting, so you can have it really tight up against the top. Here's the custard, it's been chilled, and take an offset spatula and fill it with the custard. Now I'm going to make a pretty fluting. I'm going to take strips and use a pastry cutter to get those little rigid edges. And starting with the smallest piece, start putting them across your custard, and make sure you pinch the little edges so everything sticks really well. And now you're going to go the other way. When you're totally done, get an egg wash, that was just 1 beaten egg, and paint all of the crust. Now I have some pine nuts here, and they don't have to be toasted first, and I'm going to use about 1 cup. Sprinkle the whole top of the torta. I baked this at 350 degrees for about 45 minutes. After it's totally cooled, you can dust it with powdered sugar. It really makes it look beautiful, and it makes it taste even better. So there's a gorgeous piece, and you can see that custard. It's set up really nice. It's time to serve your Torta Della Nonna. If you haven't had a chance to subscribe to my channel yet, please do. I would really love it. And give this video a like too, because it really helps.